Hey guys, Jordan here. In this video, I want to continue our series called the Customization Toolbox, where we are going through the entire alphabet, looking at each letter individually, and I'm showing you just some customizations on that letter that you can think about. And what I want is to have a collection for you that if you're stuck on, you're looking at a letter, you feel like something needs a little bit of oomph or kind of interest, that you can go into the collection and watch the video for that letter and get some ideas. So today we are on the letter Q. We are still in the same font that we've been in the whole series, which in this font, the Q looks kind of funny, but that's okay. We're just going to be editing it a lot. So let's just get started. There's so many things you can do for the letter Q because it'll look like the letter Q even when you go in and mess with it a lot. So I'm probably going to give you more than 3 in this one. The first thing that I would always think about to do for a Q is just you can completely remove whatever the original, what is it called? The line of the Q that the original font has. Like, just completely remove that and start with an O. If you really want to add some life to the letter Q. And do kind of experiment in drawing your own leg to the Q, or whatever that is called. So for instance, you could do one that connects inside the Q and then comes out, something like that. You can see that automatically gives it a really fun flair. Obviously you can go in Shift and W with your width tool to kind of mess with exactly what flow you want that to have. So you can do a lot with that too. Something like that. Another thing you can do is not go for a flowing look at all and just go for a super minimalist line look. Something like that. This is great for brands that you just want to give a very chic, minimalist touch to. So playing around with geometric, just the line. Something that I've seen that I think is really cool is playing with how long that line of the Q is and where it starts. So it could be something really small, like that, as well. I've seen it where it is taken all the way to the edge, like that, to really emphasize that line. And that can be a very cool look for the letter Q. So playing around with just a very minimalist abstract line, the location, the length of it, all of that. Another thing that is fun to do with the letter Q is to not even start the line necessarily inside the O at all, and you kind of saw that the original font here started it just at the bottom. You can do that, but you can also start it completely outside. So you can do something like a curve right directly under it, and again, playing with the width of it. Using Shift plus W on your keyboard can add a lot, playing with the angle of it. So you can start it just not even touching the center shape. Another thing that you can do is use that outline of the Q to create a gap. So let's say you wanted to do something like a line like this here, and maybe you want to just add a little bit more interest than that. You could do something like going in and making a cut right where that O shape hits the line, like that. Or you could go in and make a little cut where the line hits the O. So that can be a fun way to play with the Q as well, is to create kind of a gap wherever that line is touching the O if it's going through it. I'm trying to think if there is anything else with that. I guess one more thing that I want to point out is if you have the letter Q and you have another word or letter next to it, let's say we have the letter U. Q is a great one to create some integration in a spelled out logo look. So let's say I have these two letters next to each other. What you can do is purposefully create that line of the Q to integrate with whatever letter is next to it. Something like that. And depending how you draw it, you could even use it to make the letter next to it have to sort of raise in height, so you get some different dimension between the letters. Like that. So you can see that the letter Q is just a very, very dynamic letter for customizations. And I always say, like, if there is a letter in your logo or in whatever you're working on that has this many kind of options to it, start by looking at what you can do for that letter. If a spelled out logo, for instance, needs a little bit of extra life or interest or complexity, you don't have to look at every single letter for something to edit. Taking one good letter, like if there was a Q in there, and just focusing in on that can add all of the interest that it might need. So yeah, if you have a Q in something that you're working on and you just need a little extra interest, I would definitely recommend thinking about what you can do with the letter Q first before you're even thinking about other letters. Another thing that I will just recommend with the letter Q is go look at our episode on the letter O, because most of the things you can do with the letter O, you can also do with the letter Q. So I think, for instance, that one of the things we talked about in our episode on the letter O is that you could like create a little gap, for instance, maybe at the top or bottom or both. You can do that with the letter Q. You could go into the letter Q just like the O and adjust how much you want that curve, where you want that curve to be in that circular shape. If you're using a font with varying widths within it. So I would also say go and look at our episode on the letter O and know that you can apply a lot of that to the letter Q as well, just because it's got that central shape in it. I guess I'll just show you one more thing for the sake of it. Don't feel tied to just different forms of swoops like the ones that I've showed you. You can really go in and like create a loop-de-loop and get very fancy with it. So definitely feel free to do more than just these forms and play around with whatever. Seems like it could potentially be a good fit depending on how much complexity you're looking for in your shape. The Q is typically one that is going to be legible even if you do a lot to it. Alright, I think that is everything that I wanted to mention on the letter Q. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said, we will link the collection on the other letters in the alphabet that we've done so far below. Give the video a like if you want to see more from this series, to let us know. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a comment.